You want some advice, Luke?
Sure.
Never let anyone pick on you. Otherwise, you'll carry it with you the rest of your life. And those kids at school, they're bigger than you.
Yeah.
And bring a knife to school. They take it off you and beat you up. You go around their houses at night and burn them down with their families inside. What's the worst they can do?
Yeah. Okay.
If you get passed up for a promotion, just tell your Marine buddy about it. This is Spoiler.
Hoorah. He has the PTSD.
Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Stevie, and tonight we're doing a very special episode. This is a Patreon request, right, Pap?
This is Austin's Patreon request. Loyal member Austin. We chat with him sometime in the DMs. Good guy. We like Austin.
Thank you, Austin.
Yes, thank you so much. This is very exciting.
And he picked a normal movie.
Is it?
Is it? Is this a normal day in your life, Josh?
It's a really popular normal movie.
I don't think we would have covered it without him picking it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
My boss recently found spoilers on accident, so that's a whole separate side story. But he had never heard of this movie either. I feel like most people haven't heard of this movie. But when I look on Letterboxd, people fucking love it. There's a range of reviews, but there's a lot of people who really, really like this movie, including Austin, I think.
Stevie, that's not a side. Like, we're going to get into that Pappy's boss thing, right? You're not going to let that slide?
I mean, Pap, you might as well tell the story.
I mean, listen, depending on how this goes, I might really need more Patreon subscribers desperately soon. No, my boss said that he was listening to a podcast on Bullet Train, and he's like, dude, this one of the voices just sounded so familiar, bro. I was like, do I know him from a different podcast? Like, who is this? And he's like, then I realized it was you. And this is like in a big team meeting with everybody there, and I was so embarrassed. And then he said, screw you guys, I like that movie. So sorry, Andy, but if you're listening.
Wow, what a fucking idiot.
Oh, God.
I almost got found out about 3 weeks ago, and I have yet to tell anybody at my workplace at all that I am on a podcast.
You got to keep it secret, keep it safe.
Dude, yeah, no. I'll never give that shit out. But
Fuck that. I make the new trainees listen as part of their training program and leave a 5-star rating.
Yeah, they edit the videos that we post to Instagram. all the videos we put up. There's so many.
But we are going to be reviewing The Guest. This is... Does anybody watched... I call it Downtown Abbey because I love pissing people off. But has anybody watched Downton Abbey?
No, I never really understood the appeal of that kind of shit.
Me fucking neither. I've yet to watch a single second of that show. But I do know that's where Dan Stevens got his start.
He's the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, formerly #1 episode of Spoilers.
Formerly numero uno.
Which Beauty and the Beast?
Live action.
Bad one.
Not the Linda Hamilton. That one has Ron Perlman. We're talking about the 2016 one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or 17? Somewhere around there?
With Emma Watson, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he crushed it in that. And he was also in another episode we did, Eurovision, right, Pap?
Oh, who was he in Eurovision? I don't even remember him in there.
The really flamboyant Russian guy.
Oh, yeah. He's okay.
I'll play my cards a little bit here, boys. I like Dan Stevens a lot in this. Quite
Josh
a bit.
has watched a numerous amount of Downtown Abbey.
I haven't at all. And if Wyatt Russell wasn't already playing U.S. agent in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think Dan Stevens would have been great casting for that.
He's too handsome.
What are you trying to say about Wyatt?
I'm saying that like when Wyatt wears the Captain America outfit, like the new and improved one from the government,
That's weird.
it looks weird, and it's supposed to look weird, right? Like the idea being that
has
no
that,
one can
like-
quite fit in the shoes of Steve Rogers.
He also, I don't know if it's like the fitting, but when Wyatt does wear like the mask, I guess you can call it, like he has that kind of like deep south, like kind of like protruding or kind of like retracting jaw. You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, he's a
Deep
class
stuff.
4
I thought you
occlusion.
liked him, and here you are talking crap.
I'm just saying when he puts on that like, mask helmet type deal, he has that really like kind of like sunken in jaw type thing you normally see in the deep south.
Huh.
Just the way I see it.
No, you're
But-
right.
Thank you, Korey. Thank
Did you
thank
like Dan Stevens' deep South accent, Stevie?
You mean the one that was going in and out?
That wasn't
Take
the
it
only
easy.
thing going in and out. Am I right,
now.
boys?
Hey, now. I thought he was pretty good in this movie. I like how his face does this thing where it kind of like he shuts down or like goes dark, and like I think that's pretty effective. I mean, the music helps a lot in those moments. But I'm with you, Josh. I thought it was pretty good.
There's this one thing he does where he has his shirt on and then he takes it off.
Mm.
I love that. Yeah, he's so good
That's
at that.
great stuff. That's commanding stuff right there.
Do you ever see something like that and like your first thought is, man, I should work out at some point.
Yeah, you should just do that thing where you don't eat or drink for a day, and then you drink a beer or a Diet Coke, and you're good to go.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes? Can I, help you?
My name is David. Mrs. Peterson, I knew your son, Caleb. And we trained together and served together, and well, we came to be good friends.
Oh, would you like to come inside?
Thank you, ma'am.
But let's go from east to west. Trying to think of a good question here.
Oh, Austin had one.
Oh, let's do that then. Pap,
Okay.
what is the question?
Well, Austin had a lot of nice things, like I said, in the DMs to us. But then he did come up with a question, and he said, if you could experience a film for the first time in theaters again, which one would it be? And he said he's going to leave us an iTunes review soon. So we appreciate the review, Austin, and of course, you being a Patreon. Which film would you want to experience for the first time in theaters again?
Pap, are you Eastus?
Yeah, I guess I can read the question and answer.
Triple double.
Pappy, recording from Kalamazoo, like the Primus song. Gonna do a little, I guess, slant on it because I feel like there might be some similar answers amongst the spoiler men. But I never got to experience Fantasia with a live orchestra, although I had tickets in March of 2020. So I didn't get to see it, which really sucked. So I would like to experience that for the first time. I don't think I've ever gotten to see one of those where you see a movie and like they play the music live. I think that would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
At least not in my adult life. I haven't seen one.
This is Josh from Goshen. My fate. What I would choose for this is like when I saw Moana with my oldest daughter when she was like 4 in theater. We had to take a couple breaks because she got scared, so we'd go get popcorn when it got too intense. Just very sweet time. But also, I would say more of like a personal one. This is more of like a for plot and movie reasons, I would say probably Fight Club. I was just at the very right age for that movie to like really blow my mind. So
You saw that in theaters?
I don't remember how, but
Nice.
you know what? Maybe I didn't. You're right. It wasn't in theater because I would remember like who would have taken me to the theater to see Fight Club. But that was like the answer that was like ringing in my head all day because Pappy did Stevie give us this question ahead of time. And for some reason this whole time I was thinking of freaking Fight Club, and I don't know. We haven't done that movie yet on spoilers, have we, Pat?
No, I don't think so. Probably get a lot of plays. People like
Future
Fight
spoiler
Club.
for sure. Can I pivot to that from Taxi Driver?
Yes.
No.
Josh, you did say a Taxi Driver was very personal and meaningful to you.
If you really want to pivot, you
No.
can. I'm glad we're doing it on air. But I'm still no pivot, Pappy. Have you pivoted before?
Anyway, Josh
Oh.
from Goshen. I did not see Fight Club in theater, so I will definitely go with Moana with my sweet oldest daughter. She is 4.
Nice. This is Korey, Kylo Ren memes, and I'm recording out of Simi Valley, California. You know, in some of our recent episodes, I realized that when I talk for a long time.
No, we love it.
Sometimes too long, perhaps. This might be a long answer. The first thing that came to my mind when this was mentioned, and this is one of my answers, I always got 2, right? The first thing that came to mind is a kind of a recent movie, Avengers Infinity War. Now, I know that kind of sounds lame for a guy that is always wearing an A24 shirt, of course, but Avengers Infinity War was like, that movie was so fucking good. And I got to see it a day early because my friend got me into the screening for the people that worked on the movie. Not the actors, but everyone behind the scenes, the special effects artists and stuff. Because she was a special effects artist on that movie. And man, I was so excited to see where this went. And I was like so fucking satisfied. Like that movie starts off and it's just action packed. And it's really just everything the inner nerd in me ever wanted. Up to that point. And, you know, Marvel had built things up so well up to the Infinity War saga. So really great movie, really great experience with just a packed theater of fans that were absolutely loving it. Great time. But, you know, I was thinking about it and I was thinking like, he's really like trying to ask about something in our past here. Yeah, I think, you know, because he says like, go back, and that's in the past, but maybe like further back. So I was thinking back about other comic book movies, because there's been a lot of times when I've been hyped for comic book movies in my life because I'm a nerd. One of the comic book movies that I was really hyped for that really let me down, and that's going to lead up to my answer, is X-Men The Last Stand, which is X-Men 3, which came out in 2006. I've always been a huge X-Men fan. That's like my favorite comic book property ever, especially when I was a younger kid. And then the live action movies, the first one was pretty good. Second one was really good. And I thought they were just going to like keep getting better from there, you know? But X-Men The Last Stand in 2006 was such a fucking letdown. One of the biggest letdowns of my entire movie-going experience in life. It's like that and Batman and Robin. Like those two fucking movies. Fuck them both. But so around this time, mid to late 2000s, we got another comic book movie a couple years later. And I was hyped for it, yes, but I knew that it could be bad. There's always the potential, because I had been hurt before. And this movie was a 2008 movie, and it was called The Dark Knight. I saw The Dark Knight opening night, and it blew me away. The hype for this was pretty fucking huge. Like, I remember it being advertised all over MySpace. Like, you would log into MySpace, and like the whole background was like ad-ridden Dark Knight, like you know that image of him on the poster with like the broken down or burned down building. So I went and saw this movie and I was completely fucking blown away because the state of comic book movies at that time was pretty bad, and I was really coming off the pain of X-Men 3. You know, I think we got Iron Man earlier that year and it was like, I thought it was pretty good, but like what I really needed was like this, something that took itself very seriously and had really good writing and had very memorable performances, and it had a really good take on Joker, and that everything, I just loved it so much. So that might be my more official answer, The Dark Knight.
Stevie, can I add one? So everybody else got 2?
I'm going to say 2. Have at it. Say 4 or 5.
I was thinking about, like, since Korey was saying about experiences, I remember when you and I saw Arrival. Like, I mean, that's a pretty sad movie.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, it was just super fun because it was, like, you and me, and we went to the movie theater in the middle of the afternoon, and, like, the second the movie ended, well, first of all, we did the thing that we do in theaters where we see a trailer, then we just look at each other and like make a face or do a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, or nay.
A
Yeah.
quick reaction of what we think. But then
Yeah.
we didn't fucking stop talking about it from like the second we got out of the theater to when we got to your house and started recording the podcast. That was really fun. Like just thinking about that movie, it really blew my mind. That's my second one.
Arrival, not The Arrival.
Not The Arrival. Yeah.
Speaking of blew my mind, though, Korey's literally part. Have you guys seen those YouTube videos that are just like all the cool parts of Infinity War and they play the audience reaction? Doctor Stranger will just be like, "You're a douchebag, Tony Stark," and everyone's like, "Oh, let's go!"
That's not in the script.
Something like that. You know what I'm talking about.
I will say this though, like
People just go wild.
I'm really happy that Korey brought up Infinity War because it literally spawned one of my favorite memes that there is. I'm sure you guys have seen this in 1,000 different formats, but the one, like the way I originally saw it was, have you guys known that bar during the World Cup in England?
Oh,
where they're all just waiting for a guy to score and they go nuts in the bar.
Yes.
And they always like replace the screen. It was like the way I saw it originally was always replaced with Thor like showing up in Wakanda, like just appearing like out of nowhere, like him and Rocket. And like when you see like the bar going nuts, like that's why I originally saw that meme. And I love that.
Dude, that was me. That's how I felt. I was like, dude, Thor's gonna fuck Thanos up now. Like, had enough of your bullshit.
Sorry, I just hit my head on the mic. I fell asleep thinking about that.
Josh, don't act like you don't love Marvel Snap. You're hardcore.
That's so true. Me and Korey are just addicted to this freaking Marvel Snap at. And I do like Infinity War, so I'm just giving you a hard time, Korey.
It's all G, baby.
All right, is it my turn?
You're the host, so it's up.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean,
you're.
I can punt. Yeah, pass or kick it. This is Stevie recording from, I'm not going to say because there's a guy out there that Josh keeps antagonizing that I don't want him to know where I live.
Alex Cooper.
So we're just going to leave it at that.
Alex
Yep,
Cooper.
that pretty much, yeah.
The one from UK? Filmmaker?
Yeah.
Watchmaker?
Yeah, he's not sleeping though, man.
Watchmaker.
Entrepreneur.
Cooper Watch Family Empire, Josh. She's got connections.
But I have two. The first one I'll say is pretty obvious, and that was seeing Mad Max Fury Road opening night. Still to this day get like chills thinking about it. And the other, like I didn't think it would, but it stuck with me for going on 8 years now. And this is around 2014. I used to work a really labor-intensive job in early mornings and long hours. And my sister called me and she was just like, do you want to go see Interstellar in IMAX? And it's at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I was just like, yeah, let's go do it. And the part of that movie that will always stick with me is when Matthew McConaughey's trying to dock that ship with Hans Zimmer just going nuts with his music. I wish I could watch that movie again for the first time so badly. I know people love to hate Interstellar, but
No, it's
I
legit.
love it.
Yeah.
Mad Max was my first thought. Interstellar, future spoilers pick, Stevie?
I think so. I think it's worthy of it. It really holds up, and Matt Damon just plays a beautiful dipshit. Like a beautiful asshole. So, and oh yeah, I was going to ask, is Matt Damon involved in FTX at all?
Fortune favors the brave.
I don't think he was doing commercials for that one. Wasn't it a different one?
He's a crypto guy.
I know he's a crypto guy. I just didn't know if he was doing it for FTX.
That fucking crypto commercial, man. Seeing that play in front of every movie I saw for like 6 months got old quick, my friend.
The Matt Damon one?
Yeah.
Oh, I hated it so much. Go fuck yourself, Matt. But let's get into this movie. Pap, how does this movie start off?
So, where are you staying?
Well, I noticed a motel off the highway on the way here.
No. You will stay with us while you're here.
Oh, no, I couldn't put y'all out.
Nonsense. We would love to have you. We have plenty of room. And in fact, you can stay in Caleb's old room. We insist.
Well, I won't argue.
Got your letter from the postman just the other day.
Starts with it starts pretty fast. I think we do get like a quick establishing shot of David running mysteriously. But then like within 2 seconds, you're in with this family who's lost a son, and he shows up at the door. One thing I want to say about this opening though, like when you watch this movie back to back, like I watched it and I kind of just threw it on again in the background. It's so tonally different than the end. You know what I mean? Like this is spoilers. I feel like this opening's pretty serious with the mom crying and like the little shrine to the son who died in Iraq. It's hardcore.
This movie, this movie throws me tonally. I don't understand it. Like, I understand like dipping your toes in different genres or even just tones, but this has a lot of different tones. Almost like Geostorm. Almost in that realm.
The part that throws me the most is like when David shows up and he's like, hey, I knew your son. We were super close in... Do they say Iraq or do they say the Middle East? Do they say a country?
I think he says like Middle East later in the movie.
Like, but it's clearly like one of those type of movies where the person's coming back or whatever. He's like, I knew your son. And then the mom's just like goes to the laundry room and is like weeping violently, you know? And like later in the movie, there's jokes. It's so like all over the place. It's crazy.
What jokes are you thinking of?
Like when they're in the maze and the teacher's like left, right, left, right, left, right. And the two just look at each other like, whoa, you know?
That's confusing.
Yeah. I can't remember all that.
The fuck's he talking about?
You're not picking up what I'm putting down with the tone, Josh?
I mean, that comes with the territory in a movie where you have no idea what's going to happen in the next minute of it. I mean, isn't that the beauty of it a little bit? I think especially in the first 30 minutes, there is like a little bit of a cat and mouse game going on in your head of clearly this guy has a secret to hide, but is he ultimately trying to help the family or is he simply trying to grift? It's something that they try to kind of tie back in at the very end of the movie, but I think, spoilers, once he kills the parents and some other dozens of innocent people, I think that wears a little thin, but...
The jig is up, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying though,
Josh,
Stevie? Or yeah, anybody?
So you're talking about like David here, who's the central character of this movie. When he shows up and you're saying like, what's his angle, right? Like, why is he here? Because there's something mysterious about him. You're talking about that. My problem with that is that all the mysteriousness surrounding him is with the filmmaking and not with his actions.
Yes. Thank you.
The movie is telling us that there's something mysterious about him by the angles that they show him and how long they hang on him and the music that plays. But it doesn't do anything mysterious. He doesn't like actually appear to be that strange if you were in their shoes, in the family shoes, until things start to turn.
You don't think it's strange when he's just meditating at night with his eyes open instead of sleeping?
Josh, sometimes I will also sit with my eyes open, and if there was a camera hanging on me, it would seem weird, but it's just called being alive.
I thought he acted pretty weird, like after him and the dad were drinking the beers, and the dad gets up, like like I said, his face just like physically changes into a different person a couple times. But what I don't understand, maybe this is a Stevie question.
Why don't they go deeper into that? Why don't they ever go deeper into that?
But why? Okay,
what do you
why
mean?
Is he?
So
he's a classic sociopath. He just plays up whoever he's in front of at that moment.
No, fuck that, Josh. Fuck
Is he?
that.
No?
You could say you could say that if like he was just normal Joe Blow and kind of snapped. Or not even snapped. Just random guy, you know, knew him in the military, whatever. But this guy went through like a program that mentally broke people.
Like possibly like physically transformed him. Like he's immune.
And
to
we
anything.
never
Yeah.
And yeah, well it did. He doesn't feel anything. Like why don't we ever go deeper into the mental aspect of it versus just, hey, this guy's a little off? Like, do we actually, is the real David in there? Is there like a new David that's taking over? What's going on?
No idea.
My question with David, why is he there? Like,
Thank you.
later he kills the people, but the only reason he only kills people is if it compromises the mission. Like that no one can know about the mission because just knowing about it compromises. So he's been programmed to kill. Why the fuck is he there in the first place?
Not even we can know about the mission, Pappy.
Yeah. And like
It's
I'm fine with
confidential.
Pappy,
I'm fine.
I
with
do
that, but,
know.
like,
I do know
we
why
need to
he's
know why
there.
he's there. Why?
He promised his fellow soldier Caleb that he would go and see if his family was okay. And I actually believe
Come
that that's
on.
true.
And then he just lingers.
He's in the
Lingerer.
picture.
That's me. Right there.
I'll be.
I remember that day.
That doesn't mean anything, though. That's clearly set
Let
up
me
to
explain
be like,
it. So to not rush through this, like someone like Korey's wife Amira may complain about. There's a picture.
Oh.
There's a picture on the mantle of like a bunch of war buddies, including Caleb, who has passed away sadly, and one of his buddies is clearly this guy that shows up at their door. And maybe Stevie, there's this like little part that they talk about later in the movie where there's like a plastic surgeon or something involved. But like, I really do think deep down, like he killed his parents, but at the same time, he wanted to help the son, Luke, out in several different moments throughout the movie. How do those reconcile?
That's what's kind of tonally confusing about this movie is why is he there and why does he stay? I don't get it. Because like,
well, according to Josh, he's both a sociopath that's telling people what they want to hear, and he's also there
and
trying
a
to help
hero.
them.
Yeah.
I think
But
he's
I
been
think-
trained to be the sociopath, but you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't always a sociopath.
I mean, I think that's just the movie. I think, Josh, what you're saying makes the most sense. It's just the presentation of the movie. Like, at some point you think he's a sociopath, but I think what you're like suggesting makes sense, that he just wanted to be friends. Like, he made a promise to his friend. Maybe he can't break a promise or something. Maybe that's part of his conditioning. I mean, the movie doesn't tell us any of this. Dude, this movie's really hard to process on one viewing. It's a lot to take in.
Can I ask you guys something?
Please do.
How do you feel about the daughter or main character, second main character? I don't know who the main character is of this movie. Kind of just like seeing David with his shirt off and then immediately like going into the bathroom like she's gonna flick her bean. I find that's just like,
Hey, Pappy's
weirdly
boss listens to this podcast for crying out loud.
hey, well, female masturbation happens every day. But like, I find that just to be so ungodly lazy.
Says a Catholic.
Hey,
I like her as an actress. She's from It Follows.
I like her as an actress too, but I just don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Christian Haydenson a lot as an actor.
What
I just-
doesn't make sense? That she would be impressed with his body, Stevie? Like, it would be weird if she wasn't, actually.
Got a pretty nice body.
This dude is impossibly handsome. Ridiculously handsome. Like, he is really good looking, and he is lit really well.
And he is lit really well.
Like, I feel like he looks like he has like an aura about him. You know?
He like soaks in the light and like spits it back out through his eyes.
It's a lighthouse or something.
He looks at me with his deadlights, and I want to be there.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Almost Paul Walker level of handsome.
Looks like Zach Morris.
I just find it lazy. It's all I was saying. Like for a movie that starts off with like a mom crying over her fallen soldier's son, like it feels like really lazy to be like, hey, let's show that this girl's attracted to this guy.
I just expected this movie to be different. Like, I thought it was going to be like more somber and like about grief. And, you know, I expected a turn because the filmmakers are clearly setting this guy up to be something else. There's something underneath the surface. I didn't know what it would be, but I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was going to be like Lamb or something, Pappy. Like, you know, I thought there was going to be a lot more dreariness to this movie. Not like, you know, cool guy, go beat up the bullies moment.
Okay,
like,
well,
okay,
isn't that awesome though? That it subverted your expectations, first of all, and that it wasn't dreary. Did you want dreary?
Yes.
What?
Some people like dreary, Josh.
Hi,
Bro, Good Time is a comfort watch for me. I want a dreary, okay?
bro.
The Gray is my ultimate comfort watch. It starts almost this week.
Korey, where does the dreary jump the shark? Like, at what point did it become too silly? Oh, was there like a specific scene or moment where you're like, you've lost me?
Well, you know, things kind of start to change in the movie when Anna, the 20-year-old daughter, overhears him on his phone about like face swapping. And I'm not talking about a Snapchat filter, you know, like he's talking to a doctor. He's like, I need to get a new face and new dental records. And
I need to
I'm
take
like,
my
okay.
face off.
Right. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before, and I've seen it better, to be honest. What about you, Pappy? How do you feel about that? Do you think the tone shift that occurs around this turn is it fun? Do you like it more as an action movie, which it becomes?
It was way before that for me. It's when they're in the bar.
Yes.
So, and I think this is like the moment for me where I was like, what kind of movie is this? Because he's helping out the brother of the guy who died in Iraq, and the kid's getting bullied, so they follow him to this bar that serves you if you're on the football team, and like he proceeds to beat up the bullies, but like the sound effects in this scene are fucking insane, and I hope we play a couple, but there's like whooshes as he punches. You know what I mean? And it's like it's just so it becomes so over the top. Like the bullies like punch each other in the fight, you know what I mean? He's like dodging because he's so cool. It's like this feels like a very different movie than what I was expecting.
Right. I expected that dude to pop up and be like, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. I mean, this dude is evil Jason Bourne, after all.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's bad.
It's every movie, Korey.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I just had no indication of that it was going here, and it's just jarring the first time. Like, oh, it's this kind of movie.
Thanks for the drink.
You're welcome.
I don't want it though. You can have it.
Well, maybe you prefer this.
I just think that like some of the most interesting parts though are wrapped up in that though, Pap, because when by he I mean David, he's really trying to teach Luke something here, I think. Here and later in the movie. There's any humanity in this David guy. Don't you think it comes out with the younger brother, Luke?
He tells him to go burn down his enemies' houses with their families inside.
That's what he does best. That's the best shit he has, man. That's coming from the heart.
That's a sincere moment.
Pap, I'm with you though. The bar scene, I feel like, was kind of I don't know. It's like when one movie became another movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was just strange, and also like not the David that like we saw show like we've been like shown so far, and the fact that he's just like giving people money to like kind of take care of his problems, and also like his reaction while getting the Cosmo thrown on him, I thought was the weirdest part, because it's like he seemed really angry, but in surprise, like that something like that would happen when you thought that like, that's why he did it in the first place. I don't know. It was strange.
The best line of the movie possibly is in this section, because he's pulling out a big wad of cash, right, Stevie?
Correct.
And Luke's like, hey man, are you like rich or something? And he says in the coolest, most handsomest looking voice ever, cash is easy to get. Fucking love that shit, man.
Nope. Blowjob shots for the ladies and a cosmopolitan for each of the guys. You can keep the change on that.
You got it.
Are you like rich?
Cash is easy to get.
Is it?
How did he get that cash? Did he just kill somebody? Did he rob a bank?
Myriad ways. He has no morals, so he just gets it.
He's so good looking, people just leave it at his feet.
So this dude's like the last Jedi, right? I mean, he's the last of his kind. Is this the first family he's visited from like his group or whatever?
Maybe not. Maybe, but if it always goes awry, then he should probably stop doing it, especially if he thinks he's being helpful.
What are you getting at, Stevie?
I'm just saying, it's easier to explain cash is easy to get if you're like visiting like other families that like you knew of, because it's like, oh, you know, hey, I knew your son. Hey, take this money, yada yada, be on your merry way. But like, just to say cash is easy to get after like escaping and faking your death, why is cash easy to get?
That's a code I haven't cracked myself, sir.
Start a podcast.
Cash be hard to get for me.
Stevie, can you say something nice about Austin's pick?
Hey!
Is there something that you like? No, I'm just saying, is there something that you like about it? Like,
he could have picked a worse Adam Wingard movie. He could have picked Blair Witch, the 2016 one.
we did.
He did that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oof.
We did that with a ghost hunter on this podcast. It was wild.
One thing I'll say nice is I did like the kind of synthy poppy score that were behind a lot of the scenes. Matched with the gong of the grandfather clock that would come on anytime something bad was going to happen. You know, I did like that, Pap.
Yeah, I think the music is really good. Like, in terms of soundtrack,
I liked the music, yeah. It felt like it was very reminiscent of Drive, in my opinion. I know that Drive isn't the first movie to do that, but it reminded me of Drive.
Some of it reminded me like Good Times slightly, like some of the action synth.
It's that plus the lighting.
This all goes back to Thief.
It does, right?
I have a Josh question for you.
I'm ready for it.
How does a guy who doesn't feel anything perform in the bedroom?
This is not related to the movie, by the way. This is just...
I think he can feel stuff, but he has the ability to stop feeling that if he wants. And there's a scene where he is being lusted after. Kristen is at this party with Anna, and she like thinks that David is hot because David is hot. And she's like all over him and trying to like get him to go to like a private room with her. And what is your question even here, Stevie? What do I think about what?
How does the man get erections? He doesn't feel
Yeah.
shit. How is he popping boners, Josh?
Because he can do it if he wants to.
He's like Dennis Reynolds. Like he can get hard just by like standing there.
I think that's the point. Like they were kissing and stuff, and she points out like, "Oh, you aren't erect or whatever," and he's like, "Oh yeah," and then he just like is then because he just kind of forgot.
He does. He pins her down. I feel like that's part of it too, right? Like she's on top, and then all of a sudden he gets very like aggressive with it, and that's what makes him. So maybe it's that a little bit, the PTSD.
You think it's his superpower though, Josh? Is he can turn off pain if he wants to?
I think he's got a couple superpowers that are kind of related, and I think he can turn off the pain if he wants to, and if he doesn't want to sleep, he doesn't have to.
Well, that's why that's where like the thing like he doesn't feel anything came into play for me. He's like he probably doesn't feel tired.
And I think he can even have feelings for people, but when a certain situation happens that he can't get himself out of another way, those feelings just take a far, far back seat.
I wish he was just a bad guy. I wish the whole movie didn't get into the whole super soldier side plot.
Yes.
I feel like it cheapens the story a little bit. Like, what if everything else, like, what if he really was friends with this guy, but then he's just like, he is messed up for whatever reason, and then he starts, be careful what you wish for, monkey pawing the family, right? Like, killing the people who are like in their way. Like, I don't know. You're with me though, Joe? You don't like this? Are you with the super soldiers a little bit too? I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, it's really weird when they bring in the agents. It feels like a student film almost. But I think there is a really cool movie in this idea of him coming back and, like you said, monkey pawing the family, but like helping them by basically doing the things that they're not willing to do. Right. Is that monkey pawing? Is that like the definition of that?
I think it's like when you like, I don't know, like you wish for all the money in the world, then you get crushed by a bunch of coins or whatever, it's like, I don't know, be careful what you wish for type thing. I don't know. I mean, it's the guy from John Wick, right? Stevie, at the hotel. Isn't that the agent? The main agent?
Yeah, that's the concierge at the, what's it called? The Congressional?
Continental?
What is that hotel? Continental, yeah. Continental Hotel. Yep. I don't even care if like David was like super zany or if this movie was like even like a black comedy, not so tonally off. This movie was a black comedy, and we got to see David like murdering his boss and his girlfriend or whatever.
But like Pappy, if you wanted to like be the boss at your work, your boss listens to this pod. Stevie, if you wanted to be the boss at your work, you could.
I'm editing this one.
Well, I mean, if there was like a scene of that, I would take that 1,000 times over, secret government agents showing up on a ranch and David slow motion appearing behind, laundry pinned up on a
like Jason
clothesline.
Bourne. No, I'm saying it's like the Bourne identity. Like that. This is what.
Yeah.
It's like he's evil Jason Bourne, and it really makes me wonder, like if
Jason Bourne, it's Jesus Christ.
I was hoping you guys would bring this up and maybe help me pinpoint why. But when those agents, literally, like when they are arriving at the farm or whatever, that is the worst part of the movie.
It ain't good.
It's bad.
Why do you say the worst?
I don't know why. I was hoping y'all would tell me.
I can tell you why. because we're never really brought into areas of suspense, and they never last, and they're very quick fleeting, which is just, it's boring to watch. And at this point, you're no longer in a part where it's like David and a family. You bring in this whole new element that just came out of left field and we don't really have feelings for. So when you have characters you don't have feelings for, mixed in with no suspense, you're in for not a fun ride.
It looks stupid, man. When they show up, it looks and feels and is stupid. Like, when they show up, it's like a scene out of a fucking Transformers movie. Like, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. And then the leader of these guys has a fucking black leather duster walking up like fucking Morpheus. It doesn't seem to like fit. Like, it feels like a corny action movie, and it becomes a corny action movie for a time. And I'm not saying that it always is that, but it definitely starts to exude that.
So here's something interesting. I watched Adam Wingard on Red Letter Media when he was doing an interview, and they were talking about how this movie is like a parody of action movies, which the guy Jay from Red Letter Media kept saying it's not an overt parody, but it's supposed to be funny. Like, I don't know about that though, you know?
That's a reach.
You can make that same argument for a Transformers movie, though, right? Like,
yeah.
It's so corny and ridiculous that, like, oh, maybe it's just supposed to be, like, funny. But not really. I mean, that's kind of like a Tommy Wiseau style cop-out, right?
Yes. Do you agree with that, Pap?
Not that this is like The Room. I don't want to make that as a direct comparison, mind you.
I'm not saying it needs to be, like, Blazing Saddles, you know? Like, I think you could do, like, a subtle parody, but, like, I just need some breadcrumbs of what kind of fucking movie I'm watching. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the mom's, like, bawling, like I said, in, like, the first 3 minutes of the movie, like, unironically and, like, authentically, and actually doing a really good job with the actress. Like,
So what's your problem with it?
it's hard for me, like, 45 minutes later to be well, it's hard for me to, like, see the Transformers, like, scene 45 minutes later. Like, it doesn't feel like it belongs.
I think it's really hard for a director to make you feel like you're in good hands for the entire 97 minutes. And I think they had us up until the officers arriving on the ranch and the bar scene, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I think there is a different feel to the second half of the movie.
Do you guys think that maybe David talks a little bit too much in this movie?
A little more mysterious, I guess. I don't know. My problem isn't with David, to be honest. Like, it's not like David's the one cracking jokes later. I think he's okay. I didn't even notice his accent going in and out.
Did you guys notice that thing he did where his shirt would just become off?
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Oh, okay. My bad.
That was a good moment, actually. Better part of the movie, if you ask me.
Well, I'll take them all.
Well, all the handguns?
No, everything. All your guns.
Shit. That's what I was thinking. Look, man, if you brought money for all of them, I'll cut you a deal. You can take them all off my hands.
No, I'm going to kill you.
Hey, what the fuck, David?
You listen here. One fucking second.
Wait! No! Oh.
Why murder two people in the desert that haven't wronged you?
Especially if money is so easy to come by. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Cash is easy to get. What's your deal, bro?
Did he just want the boyfriend in prison and that's why he did that?
That's elaborate. Like, so like, this brings up some questions. Like, why is he doing some of these things, right? Like, what is the benefit, or as he perceives it, to have the boyfriend framed for murder? Is it just to have a fall person? And if so, if he just needs a fall person, when he's going to buy the guns, like, can he just buy them with money that he can easily acquire, that he specifically mentioned earlier? Like, why does he have to kill them and then have to have someone pinned on it? Or is he trying to put the guy in prison because he thinks it will help the family, because the dad doesn't like him because he smokes weed?
Oh, in the Terminator, it's awesome when Arnold kills the guy who he's buying all the guns from. But in this movie, it's dumb.
Yes.
I hated it there too, Josh.
Korey just goes, yes.
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 Don't even compare this movie to the Terminator, motherfucker.
It is.
Damn.
Very similar parallels.
He called it Halloween meets the Terminator. And
This
you
movie
definitely get
wishes it
Halloween
had the
in-
influence of the motherfucking Terminator. This movie ain't got shit, man. Compared to the Terminator, you kidding me? Especially in 1984.
Listen, I didn't say it was like the Terminator.
Dang, I was just saying they hit a similar story beat.
Fuck this shit. I'm out.
What if I would have mentioned T2? Then you would have actually been gone.
Did the mom have a problem in this movie besides just being sad?
That's not enough.
No, I mean, like, I feel like everybody had, like, an external problem, because it's not like, you know, the son was, like, you know, the son's death obviously would have an effect on everybody. Everybody else also had, like, life problems outside of that. And I was just thinking about, like, did the mom have a problem?
I guess her problem was her alcoholic husband.
He did like the booze.
He doesn't make very much money, guys. Leave him alone.
If only he had that degree, he'd be manager.
But because of David, he now gets Alan's salary, and all of his problems are solved.
The beginning felt like the start of a porn when David shows up. Like, I thought he and the mom were gonna bang for sure at some point, which actually would have been cool and added something to this movie.
I thought he was going to try to fuck someone in that family, for sure. I was like, he's going to try to fuck one of these people, and, like, that's going to be, like, the point of tension. Like, you know, like, to get with the daughter or something to, I don't know. I thought it'd be, like, some kind of action against someone. Like, maybe to get at Caleb, his friend who died, his supposed friend who died in the military. Maybe he's going to go, like, fuck his mom or something, or, you know? I thought, like, they were going to kind of go that direction, but obviously they didn't.
I thought he was gonna just, like, have an engagement with the daughter, date for a really long time, have kids.
Take his shirt off.
You know, take a shirt off a bunch of times for her, have the kids baptized, just live out a good life, you know? Like, I thought he was doing that for Caleb for a little bit during the movie.
Is that what you would do, Josh? Make an honest woman out of her?
Be a provider.
An honest
Be a provider.
Outside of David, was there anybody's acting that stood out to you guys kind of, like, better than the rest?
Thought the alcoholic dad was pretty good. I liked him a lot.
What else is he in?
7.
He's the
Is that the
guy who fucked the...
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Wait, what does he do in 7? What? Wait, what?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Like,
He
he
puts
made
on
me
the
do
fucking
it.
the knife condom.
No.
And I fucked her. Yeah.
Oh.
There's an actor that's in this movie for a short time. He gets killed. His name's Joel David Moore.
Yes.
He plays a guy called Craig. But I think he is really good in this movie, and I really like seeing him in anything, but especially JP in Grandma's Boy, you know? For someone like me, and I think Brett is kind of on this page as well, although Brett's not here, that's kind of like the reference point for that dude. Like, JP, Grandma's Boy, you know? And he wears the same leather duster as Major Carver later on, so that's cool too.
He's a standout for me. I know me and Brett both love Grandma's Boy. Definite future spoiler. But also, I feel like people are going to recognize him the most from Avatar and possibly Dodgeball after that, because
Dodgeball was my one.
Dodgeball was mine too. But then when I IMDb'd him, I was like, oh yeah, the most grossing movie of all time. He's insular
Look at that
character.
cultural imprint it made. He remembered him so well. I'd say on the other side of that, Stevie, though, I thought like the bullies who we've talked about are real bad. Really bad actors. Like, it's just, that whole scene's so weird and awkward when they push the son into the locker. It's too over the top.
One of my favorite parts is when those boys get beaten up and the son's back in class again, and one of the bullies starts like fucking with him again. I don't know if it's an ADR issue or if it was intentional, but to like hear one of the bullies like call the kid a bitch in a really high pitched voice made me laugh so hard. You guys know what it's like scene I'm talking about?
No, but I'm sure we got the audio added.
Yeah.
When he's like back in the classroom and like the son hits him with that yardstick or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember the ADR though.
I don't know if it's an ADR part or if the guy's voice just went really high pitched, but it made me laugh really hard.
Oh, are you looking for someone to do your sex change operation? You little fucking bitch! That's right, bitches! Oh, God damn it!
Also, this is also, I don't even know if it's like a jumping the shark moment, but I really don't like the principal's office scene at all.
Dude, okay, that I have what are this guy's powers? That part makes no fucking sense. Like, he's trained to pretend to be outraged and get a lawyer? Like,
he's a litigator, Pap. He's in legal now.
Yeah, he's like
This
Saul
is his
Goodman
life.
for a moment, you know? It's like, what is this, man? Yeah, you know, his powers are like kind of everything, you know? Like resistant to pain and emotion, all types of feeling, super strong, super fast, can, you know, kill you in a matter of 2 seconds. The guy carries 2 kegs at a time.
the music cue when he drops the kegs is pretty funny. I actually like that part a lot.
When he takes out everyone in that diner, though, it really kind of like reminded me that like having a grenade like rolled at your feet, like that's got to be like
Always be around because I love you. My heart's an open door. Girl, won't you please come on in?
one of the most terrifying things a human being can possibly experience. Like, I was thinking about, like, if this dude pointed a gun at me, right? Like, that would be really bad and awful, and it would suck, but then he would shoot me and I'd be dead. But, like, I don't want to have no fucking grenade, like, rolling up on me. Like, that's fucked up, man. Like, I don't know. Exploding like that, like, to me, that just seems, like, 10 times more terrifying than being shot.
Is the son actually gay? Or did you just make that up?
I think he made it up because I feel like they would have like at least like nodded to it at some point before in the movie.
Is that bad politics, Stevie?
What's that?
To make it up.
Feigning a hate crime? Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I felt like
stolen valor for a hate crime. You can't do that.
that principal's office scene was just so weird. Especially like the way he's like talking to the mom and like, oh, I'll go in with you. It's fucking weird.
But if the movie was all about him doing what the family members weren't willing to do, there's a cut where that makes sense. He's willing to stand up to this douchebag principal where the mom just kind of cowers.
That's not this movie, though.
And how does he, like, to Stevie's point earlier, like, does he talk too much? Like, how can he maneuver a conversation so efficiently? Like, how is that part of his training or his programming or whatever they call it?
He doesn't sleep. He just listens to Wikipedia through audiobook at night. A through Z.
L, lawyering. Okay.
B, Better Call Saul.
Pap, was the end of the movie, is that supposed to be like a dance, or is that just like a high school like maze?
And I guess maybe this is where, I don't know, I feel like the movie just wants to have such momentum where you kind of stop thinking about things and asking questions, right? Because the size and scale of this maze is just fucking insane. It's ginormous. Like, it's got rooms upon rooms. It's just been built by like high school kids in this gymnasium.
It is far too elaborate, is it not? Like, this is insane. Like,
well, that's what kind of bothers me about this end scene. I wish like a full-fledged like dance was going on and David in his fuck-uppery like meet a high school dance. I think that would have made for some great,
I don't think you can do that.
like, filmmaking.
I don't think you can do that in a movie, though. You're talking about like a mass murder at this dance?
No, not at all.
Then it would basically be the Collector at that point, right? Or the Collector 2.
Oh, just some simple pranks. Just some simple pranks, Pat. No, not mass murder at all. I'm talking about like pinpointing a target at a high school dance and having a dance going like on around him while we have our own story in the middle of that. I'm not talking about mass murder.
You're right. Like, I wish, I don't know if I'm supposed to think this is grounded in reality or not. It's so ridiculous. But like, yeah, he shows up. Did you like how the daughter, Anna, is able to outsmart him with the boot?
No.
Did you think that was cool? Josh, did you like it? How do you feel about the final battle, Josh? You like this movie?
It takes a village to bring a David down.
It's true.
And you know what's really interesting is it's kind of a reverse of the David and Goliath story, right, Stevie? You got the David who's really acting as the Goliath here.
That was good.
Damn, Josh.
Pontificate.
Making me want to pop open the scriptures right now.
Holiest on the pod, Josh.
Stevie, what's a better Hall of Mirrors scene?
Enter the Dragon.
This one or It's Pat?
Ooh.
Man, those are both fish out of water stories. Really relate to one another. This movie, because I don't want to have anybody ever see the movie It's Pat.
I think
who hasn't, and being like, "Oh, Stevie endorsed it." No, it's this.
I think
movie.
Pat is just stupid and oblivious enough to like maybe overcome David, right? Like Pat could probably like Mr. Magoo out of David's like bullets or whatever. Like, I think Pat might take David.
I'm not gonna lie, Korey. It's like a crossover I really wouldn't even mind. Is seeing Pat just annoy the shit out of David.
Yeah.
Want to see the ween?
Okay, ween is good, okay?
I wasn't knocking ween.
Stevie, the moment where David goes, it would take too long to explain.
Oh, fuck off.
And then he stabs the mom. Cop out? Like,
serious cop out.
It's drawing attention to the fact that there's not exposition. It's like, see how I didn't give you all the answers? See?
I mean, even like one of the most tropey things you can do in an action movie is like speaking exposition during the action scenes to kind of bring like comedy to it. And I feel like that almost would have worked in this scene versus just, we don't have time or the money and stab. It just, yeah.
What is happening, David? Who are those men?
I really am sorry about this, Mrs. Peterson. I'm afraid I haven't been fully honest with you.
What do you mean?
It would take too long to explain.
Korey, do you like horror movies?
You know, not really. But, you know, I've been finding that the quality of horror movies lately, within the last few years has been pretty good. Like, pretty well above, like, what I've been accustomed to horror movies, which is really just, like, 90s trash horror movies, like Troll 2 and Leprechaun. Why do you ask?
I mean, you've seen the original Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Does this ending kind of speak a little Michael Myers-y to you?
Well, all great movies end with the survivors in the back of an ambulance with a blanket around their shoulders. Every great movie does, Stevie.
110%. It's how they were meant to be made.
Oh, you guys are talking about The Burbs.
Yeah, The Burbs, right? I mean, it just seems like to me, like so many horror movies have this ending. One of the Collectors or both had this ending.
Definitely
I don't remember
both.
which ones I've
I think
watched.
the original Collector does.
Like movies that are just like bullshit schlock, like Lights Out, like they end like this. And, you know, sometimes there's a stinger and sometimes there's not. But in this case, of course, there is. Because after our heroes have gone through all the horrors brought on by the villain of the movie, you know, and they're relaxing and the fire department's there and the crime scene is...
Everything's safe now.
Yeah, everything's safe now. But in this case, of course, we see what is most definitely David limping away in some firefighter gear, you know, with a mask covered and a firefighter hat. I mean, his powers are beyond what we even talked about earlier because, like, this dude got shot a couple times, like, you know, in the leg and maybe like in the arm, but then he got stabbed, I think, in the chest. And then stabbed from behind in the side of the neck, near the shoulder.
One of his lungs has to be punctured. Has to be.
Just seems like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Consider a world where you're a secret special agent with all these government-induced powers. And your brethren in all this, he's gone through all the procedures, all the surgeries, all the exercises, all the classes. In his dying breath, he says, "My parents are miserable. Take them out of their misery. Teach my brother to fend for himself and get rid of my sister's douchebag boyfriend." What would you do?
That's a good movie, Josh.
What would you do?
Why didn't we get that?
We did.
Show that.
Show it.
What would you do?
Thank you, Mark Summers.
Yeah, if he's so committed to the mission, why doesn't he just leave after he tells all of the family members that Caleb loved them? Like,
I don't know what the mission is. I mean, how convinced are you guys of the mission? Like, are you pretty, like, dead set on that based on the movie you saw?
Why would he be there?
I don't know. I don't know why any of this is happening. I don't know why this movie is so highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes either.
Why don't you like that? At a certain point, someone requested it for us. We had to watch it. You have to embrace that part of the ride, right?
I think one of the scariest things that a filmmaker or writing team can do is write a movie with a sequel in mind. And I feel like that's what we got in a lot of this. And a sequel will never be made and we'll never know.
We would have gotten more backstory in the sequel.
Yes. Don't you feel like this was like being primed for a sequel, Pap?
With the ending. Yeah, I mean, the ending is like, what are the last words? Like, what the fuck? And then just, I mean, don't get me wrong. The music's great and the music gets loud and then it comes up with the guess, but nothing's resolved. We didn't learn anything, you know? Presumably he's got to keep trying to kill them, right? Like the Terminator, he's not going to stop.
It was about the friends we made along the way. Isn't that right?
I wish she would have been like, but he's lost so much blood. And he's like, blood is easy to get.
I wouldn't even mind if like they like tried to cut off one of his arms and it was just like all cybernetic underneath. This movie's already weird enough. Keep going weirder.
Do you remember that part of the movie where it's kind of like in Garden State where she's like, hey, listen to this song. It's blowing my mind. and then they play the song like live while you're watching the movie, and it's just some like stock.
It's like the Shins, right?
Well, in Garden State, it's the Shins. In this movie, it's just like some stock music.
Goth industrial music.
Honestly, I like the music in this better than like a Garden State. Like, like to me, like that, it screams hipster in Garden State when that scene happens, and it's like, oh, look at these two kind of like quirky, like, you know, young 20-year-olds, and like, what do they listen to? Like the Shins. Okay, cool. That's like slightly underground. Like no one really knows about this. This, I kind of like the stock music. It was refreshing.
Okay.
Like,
listen,
Korey,
the music.
I just want to say that is like one of the single greatest things you ever said on this podcast.
Hold on a
I
second.
appreciate those words.
well, Josh
so
is about
much.
to kick me in the balls for it, so let's see.
I will take your criticism of the Shins and Garden State. That's fine. I use stock footage and stock music all the time in my real job, and I can almost guarantee you this is like Universal Productions or like Music Bed, and they just like took the new indie song, like track 4 from the newest indie album that came out that month. Like, there's no real substance in this music. And even if you don't like it in Garden State, I think there's substance in it. But in this one, it's just commercial music, right? There's no art to that.
It's like the YouTube free stock music that they get that you can use in like your videos without getting a copyright claim.
Yes, their library is much bigger, but YouTube has like the 30 tracks you can choose from. This one has like 30,000 tracks. But still, like, I get it if you don't like the Shins. That's what I'm mostly trying to say. That's fine.
I'm not a big music guy anymore. Those days are well behind me, but I did like the music in this movie. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, plot twist. Survive is like, I guess, one of the bands who wrote a lot of this music, and the Duffer Brothers heard or watched The Guest and heard them, and in interviews they've said, yeah, we watched The Guest and then we had them write the theme song to Stranger Things. So, I mean,
Is that why the gong goes off in Stranger Things like it does
almost
in this?
100% probably, yes.
They like
yeah,
the
like,
music
actually.
in this too, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Once you hear
amazing.
it, though, you hear it, like, there's definite vibes of the Stranger Things theme. Like, this movie almost feels...
100%.
It almost feels 80s sometimes. You know what I mean? Like...
Do you think that would have worked, Pap, if we got, like, transported back to the 80s? I don't like cell phones in movies. That's my thing. Like, I really think cell phones don't belong in movies. I hate them.
Well, this movie's trying to be like an over-the-top version of like a very specific type of movie of like coming back from Iraq. Like, so I mean, maybe you could do it in like the 70s, like someone coming back from like Vietnam or something. But you would need to have some kind of like landmark war. Yeah.
Grenada. Grenada. All right, before we get into yes or no's, you guys have anything else you want to add?
Yeah.
Inside the house.
Did you guys see the kid in the classroom who had the giant cowboy hat on?
No.
It's one of the strangest things in this whole movie. In the classroom, Stevie, that you were talking about, where the scene that you like, where they get in a fight and he breaks the yardstick over his head. One of the kids in the class just has a giant cowboy hat on, like insanely big, and it's so weird and out of place. I kind of love it though.
I see it.
It's a big hat.
It is massive. This is like...
It's funny.
So big.
Bigger than the kid's hat in the Mighty Ducks 2 that does like the hockey puck tricks.
No attention is called to it. It's just some extra in the background, but I fucking saw that. I couldn't unsee it.
Is it like the Doug Dimmadome hat? Like that giant... That's awesome. I'm just seeing it now. That's awesome.
My final thought is I'm a little taken aback by the music conversation because
Josh, we don't like the
no,
Shins.
I thought the music felt.
Let it go.
I thought the music felt stock in this,
I like the Shins, Josh.
but like the Stranger Things theme song is literally in my like main playlist. I feel like I would have a nose for like that. I don't know. I want to give these the musicians credit. I apologize for what I was saying earlier. Not stock.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Like, and maybe it's just the It Follows connection with Makia Monroe. Like, you know, Stevie, how in It Follows, like, where none of the production design is of a specific time. You know what I mean?
That's my favorite, is when it crosses.
It's almost like this music isn't like real life. I don't even know like how to, you know what I mean? It's like this is just this one kid who's really into this weird music, but they're also playing it at the party. It's like they don't listen to hip hop in this universe. You know, they listen to whatever kind of music this is. I don't know. I kind of like
how do you even categorize that kind of music? Like, what is the genre?
Ancient Lamentations?
No, but I'm sure Stevie wished.
That would be funny. I mean, I thought the music felt pretty synth poppy, didn't you guys? Just like an 80s synth pop.
Yeah, I think that's as close as I can come up with, maybe.
Without as much beat.
Or sometimes I call it neon pop. Like that's a way I would describe it at least.
Because like, if it really was stock music, that'd be a pretty fucking bold move to call attention to it and have her make a mix. You know what I mean? Like, there's that whole scene where he's like, I like this music. And then the music swells. Like, I feel like the movie's proud of its music. I don't know.
But shouldn't they have a vocalist so you get the impression it's from an actual band instead of like there's some stock music that's good and worth listening to and the artists are real artists and like I wish they were had a bigger stage.
Would you have liked James Mercer as the vocalist? The lead singer of the Shins?
Did you just
I did.
Google his name? Thanks, Pappy.
Would've been pretty cool.
All right, let's do yes or no's. Let's start with Korey.
This is Korey. I'm going to give this movie a soft no, but I'm going to give Austin, our favorite patron, a hard yes. It's cool that you requested this. Like has been mentioned, we would not have done this movie on our own merits. Probably wouldn't have thought of it, you know, and the lists of movies that we each have is just getting longer and longer all the time. So it's good to insert something new into that, I think. You know, they can't always be It's Pat, guys. We can't just do It's Pat every time. We gotta change it up. As much as I'd love to do that. This movie is interesting to me at the beginning, and I like the mystery of it, right? The mystery is always cool. But I just don't like the reveal and how the reveal plays out and like the big dumb action scene with like all the bullets flying and ducking behind tables and like the SWAT guys get killed. Of course they do because we don't know who they are or anything about them. You know, after that, there's a couple good moments here and there. I talked about like the frightening idea of just being at a diner and a fucking grenade rolling up on your feet. Not that they show it from that angle, but I thought about it during that scene, so maybe it was effective in that way. But I sometimes don't even understand the steps that progress us to the end point in this movie. You know, I think there's good things about it. I like this actor. You know, he's pretty good, and he's a handsome boy, that's for sure. I like the daughter actress. She is great in everything I see her in. She's a total babe. The acting, I don't think is too bad. Aside from, you know, I didn't think about the bullies, but looking back at it, you know, it's not ideal. But they're not leads. They're only in here for a few minutes to serve a purpose, you know, to fill out another character's character. So, you know, it just doesn't really come together for me, and it definitely does not have any rewatchability for me. So that's a big takeaway watching this. I was like, don't ever have to watch it again. Now, I was going to say this earlier in final thoughts, but I just want to say that I'm definitely in the minority here because this has a 92% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 69% audience score.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Pappy,
First of all, Austin, thank you for your patience. We really appreciate you being a Patreon for this many months. You said this is one of your absolute favorite all-time movies, so I hope you don't hate our guts now.
Oh no!
After this.
Oh no.
We were kinder to this than we were Southland Tales. So you have that going for you. But I watched this twice, and the order of events was I watched the movie, then I watched that interview that he did with Red Letter Media, and I heard it was a parody. And the second time I watched it, I thought there was more. I could see some of the comedic moments. Now, I laugh a lot in this movie by any means, but there's a couple of times where like the music came up or like things are so over the top and ridiculous. Like especially like the way he rolls the grenades in the diner is just like fucking insane. Like, so I mean, I don't know. I like that part of the movie. I think it just kind of makes me sad because I feel like this is actually like a really, really, really smart concept and could have been interesting. And he said in that interview that it started as a more straight, somber movie, and then through like iterations of the script, like became more over the top. And like, I just really wish we could have seen that original straight, somber movie of him, you know, doing what the family wants, but not by the means that they want. A lot of unanswered questions in the story. A couple nice things though. The music fucking rocks. The lighting is really, really good. And I actually think all of the performances outside of those bullies and like I guess like some of the smaller extras are really, really good. I love this fucking cast, and it's a lot of like, oh, it's that person from that type thing. I've been talking a while to punt because I really didn't know what to say, but I'm gonna say a soft yes based on my second rewatch. I said I liked it a lot more the second time. I feel like it is kind of a wasted opportunity in some spots, but I don't know. I wasn't like frustrated watching this movie, especially the second time when I knew where it was going. Like, and I feel like it's enjoyable enough, and all the things I like about it, I did really, really like. And I don't know. I really like that main actress too, Maika Monroe. Like, she's been in Stranger Things. She's been in this. She's been in It Follows. She's been in a lot of like solid horror movies. So just enough, Austin. Probably with the Patreon bonus to get like a soft yes. But I didn't hate this movie. I really didn't.
George?
Unlike Pappy, my yes or no cannot be bought.
Listen, just enough to bump it over.
I need you to realize, as a friend, like friend to friend, cash is easy to get.
Right.
Korey, I think you're right when you said this movie doesn't quite like come together at the end. And I think kind of to Pappy's point, this movie probably works a lot better if Lance Reddick and Alex Knight don't show up in leather trench coats. But I also think if there's a better movie buried in here, there's also a worse movie buried in here. There's one that's like more rapey. There's one that's more torture porny. There's one that's more like got more of that like raw sadness. So I liked that this movie was all over the place. I get why Austin likes this. This is actually a huge yes for me. I had a lot of fun watching this, but one other thing Korey said was it doesn't have like a lot of rewatchability, and I think that's probably right. But I'm still going to give this a pretty solid yes, and I hope that's fair, and I hope everyone realize I'm not bought off when I say that.
Okay. The first time I watched it, I gave it 3 stars, which is usually a yes. Second time, I bumped it up to 3.5. So I liked it on its own merits. I wouldn't do that for you, Austin. That is a call.
No, I'm here.
I can't be bought. I'll put it that way. This was a yes on its own merits. I promise. Cash is easy, like Josh said. Patreons are hard to find.
This is Stevie, and I really didn't have to wrestle with this one all that much. This is just a no. I don't know. I really didn't. I know I'm not supposed to connect with David at all, but I also didn't like root for him or hate him that much. Just he was kind of there doing things. Like, I kind of wish he was a little more Patrick Bateman-like. In this movie, he was a little more like that when he's kind of, you know, getting ready with Huey Lewis in the news, getting ready to kill lead singer for 30 Seconds from Mars, and yeah, I like the music quite a bit. I like the lead actress quite a lot. I love Dan Stevens. I just don't think this movie really ever came together. And thank you, Austin, for the pick and letting us review this, but just a straight no for me.
We love you, Austin.
Pat, you got some trivia?
I got some trivia. Josh, do you have some trivia?
I thought you had trivia.
Yeah, we've done that game before on the Terminator episode. Then you had a better trivia you had up your sleeve. I just want to make sure.
Dude, we did the double trivia and it was awesome.
And Stevie was the double winner. So we'll see if we can repeat. The highest of stakes.
Let's go.
Moments in the winner's circle. And you get to toss it to Spoiler Man. Korey has been very critical lately of the quality of trivia, saying he didn't want to do a lame closest to with no stakes. So I was going to do a farthest from, but then I realized Brett's not on. So instead, you each get your own personal closest to, a blind closest to. I have A, B, and C. You got to guess on different questions. We'll see who's the closest. Stevie, do you want option A, option B, or option C?
Or option D, a
Josh
different
trivia.
question. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I'll do option C.
This is according to Brett,
Oh, good God.
who's not here.
If you go woke, you go broke.
Why isn't Brett here tonight? There's a Packer game on. He claims to have watched how many consecutive regular and playoff Packers games?
God. Did he say this on air?
No, I talked to him on the side to get this information.
Oh, he's so full of shit.
Remember, this is according to Brett. Brett is the source on that.
Yeah, I know. This is why I'm going to do a Looney Tunes answer. I'll say... Josh, he's what, 37?
Why are you always trying to age people?
So I can do the math. Because if I can take 37 times 16 and then do every other year where they're playing 2 playoff games, I can get close.
I think he's like 43.
I thought he was in the 60s.
Damn! Good God. Okay. I'll say that he has claimed to watch 525 games.
25. Okay. We're going to make a slight adjustment. Kyle, you can either pick A or B or guess on C if you want the Packer one.
B.
Okay. How many single location full service restaurants are in the US? I tried to find how many diners, but all of the numbers I could find are sketchy, so it's like just a standalone restaurant, not a chain. How many of those exist within the US?
There's 27.
27?
What?
Who cares?
I also like to live dangerously.
Really, how you want to do this, Kylo?
All right, fine.
Want to be that guy? Too cool for trivia?
Yeah, right. All right.
Just put 1,000 at the end of that.
I'm sorry it's not Marvel Snap. This is the best I can do for entertainment.
Then I'd win. Yeah. There's got to be like 27,000.
27,000? Josh, do you want the mystery trivia or to guess on any of the previous ones? How many special forces does the U.S. have?
What do you mean?
Like a troop, a military person who's classified as special ops.
Like individuals or organizations that are...
Individuals, soldiers.
Oh my gosh.
People just like David in this movie, yeah. Yeah.
Now remember, Josh, you got SEALs, Rangers, and Special Forces.
Space Forces.
Green Beret?
Oh, Space Force.
I don't know if they're included.
I actually did have an emergency stop trivia, if you didn't have any, Pappy. And it was like, the CIA has this many employees. And it was like 21,000, but I don't think that's like what you're talking about. You're talking about military special.
Yeah, like Stevie was saying. Yeah. The specials.
How many people even live in our country, Pappy? Can I ask
300 million? Yeah, 325 million. The world population just crossed 8 billion a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I gotta hope that we have like 10,000 special ops. I'll say that.
Okay. Josh, we'll start with you. You said the U.S. has 10,000 special forces.
I hope they have more.
You are off by 60,000. We actually have 70,000
Nice.
special forces.
Well, that's comforting.
So, Korey, you're up next. You guessed that there are 27, and then you said 27,000 full-service restaurants. You're pretty much just as close with 27. There are 155,000 special service, single location full service restaurants. Stevie, I think you had the easiest question.
Oh, yeah.
The least amount of variables. Brett claims to have watched 265 consecutive Packer games. You're off by nearly 100%, but you're still the closest with your guess of 525. I don't know how many seasons that equals, but Stevie, you are the winner.
Let's go. I wonder which game he missed.
That doesn't seem like very many games. That's pretty weak.
He says that he was in Bloomington and they didn't have the game. Josh, I don't know if you remember that. He was like,
hell no, I don't remember that.
Visiting you.
I bet his older brother Brian has like so many more games watched than Brett. It's not even funny. Brother Brian, Patreon.
So Stevie, you are the winner. You can toss those.
Yay! I just want to say thank you to all my supporters and those who believed in me.
Brother Brian.
No, I was fucking around. Thank you, Austin, for picking this. It was really fun hosting this. And I'm not going to ask Pappy what we have coming down the pipeline because I'm trying to stop doing
Do you have any
that.
hot takes? The last time you had a really good hot take.
Ooh, hot takes.
What was my hot takes? That dad movies are okay?
Yeah. It can be about anything.
Hottest take that I can think of at this very moment. Paul Thomas Anderson made 2 good movies in his entire career.
Whoa.
What?
And that's about it.
Which one?
I think what's that? Not Punch Drunk Love. No, it's just Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood. Those are both masterpieces. That's it.
I thought There Will Be Blood was There Will Be Boredom or whatever.
And people change, and I watched it again, and it is a bona fide masterpiece.
Well, fucking rewatch Punch Drunk Love then.
Don't bury the lead. Yeah. That's all this growth you've had recently.
I know. I'm trying here. No, I think that There Will Be Blood is one of the greatest movies made in the past, 30 years or so. Like, the fact that No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood came out in the same year is almost criminal.
They were filming within miles of each other, too. Insane.
That, like, if there was ever a year, you should have been like, hey, we need to give out, co-Oscars for co-Best Pictures. It was that year. And so I'll leave it at that. As much as I think PTA is pretentious and does shit just to be pretentious, I think There Will Be Blood is an absolute God's honest masterpiece. And I hope we spoil it soon. And that was spoilers.
Special thank you to our patrons. Druid King.
He wanted me to tell you that he loved you.
The Meg.
He wanted me to tell you that he loved you.
Matt Troll.
Hey, there you are.
Brother Brian.
He was a friend of your brother's.
Nick.
Guess we just don't need a walking, breathing reminder of him right now, you know?
The Wall.
No, you're right. You're right. Let's talk to him.
David.
I could use a drink. How about you, David?
Nurse Stacy.
He killed Mom and Dad.
Barky 420.
So, you knew my brother?
Davey Kerr.
Couldn't impose on your hospitality any longer, sir.
Total Movie Recall.
You seem like a really cool guy.
Spencer.
And sir, you calling me sir now? You gotta stop with the sir. My name's Spencer. You gotta call me Spencer, for God's sakes.
I'm sorry.
What did the kid call him?
PK. If you'd like to request an episode, hear your name read by Spoiler Man, or even just help us make podcasts, please check us out on patreon.com/spoilerspodcast.
I'm sorry. I just the master. I am 100% picking the master soon.
Yes. On brand.
Scientology.
Oh, that's what that is about.
Yeah. It's also
I was
incredibly
thinking about
uncomfortable. Joaquin
Why?
Phoenix is so uncomfortable in that movie.
He does that pretty well.
He does it really well.
So
Is that his secret, like acting like Leo has yelling? He has making you not want to be around him.
remember when he was yelling
Sorry.
in Return to Paradise? Like at the end? That shit is insane. I watched that part again the other day.
Why did you watch that part again the other day?
Pap wanted to remember Anne Heche.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Part of a tribute.
And Heish.
Well, from the classic The Guest to the classic Surviving the Game.
Is that Most Dangerous Game with Ice-T?
Yeah.
I think. Have you seen it? I haven't seen it.
I watched that movie in the mid-90s.
It's when it came out.
And I think it was on TNT or TV. I think it was on TNT.
So it was like that followed by Law and Order, like right back.
No, because you have to remember in the mid-90s, TNT went all in on Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal movies.
That's right.
So I remember this movie, like specifically playing after, I think, Hard Target, which is another Future Spoilers movie. Can we also do JCVD?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I got to see.
I
if it
cried.
qualifies. I think it might be. That movie seems pretty serious, right? Like
that
it
movie,
seems-
it is and it isn't, but it did make me cry.
Documentary?
No, it's
Double Team is just fucking absurd. Like it's so stupid. Like so stupid. Way more dumb than like Kickboxer and like
Street
fucking-
Fighter.
Dude, it's worse than Street Fighter by a long shot too.
Why is it called JCVD?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Is it about him?
How do you not know that?
Yeah, he plays JCVD in that movie.
It's
He
kind
plays
of
himself?
like
I guess I thought it was a
it's-
documentary.
no, it's kind of like what's that movie that Shia LaBeouf did?
Honey Boy?
It's like that, but Jean-Claude Van Damme's like actually like in it versus like Lucas Hodges or whatever playing Shia.
Oh.
It's
Kind of cool.
really, really cool. I think you guys would like it a lot.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Good pod. I'll catch y'all later.
See ya.
See ya, Korey.
Hey, Korey.
I made a folder.
That was Spoilers.